Hi dear viewers, this is Arash Kamoli with another session of website programming course under Python programming language and Django framework. Very welcome from me. As you may well remember, in the previous session we installed an editor space or VS Code. We also installed the virtual machine as well and prepared all the necessary packages and required files, and now we are about to start our task. In this session, we want to make our first website. We are going to do so using Python programming language and test it on the Explorer. Alright? To do so, first by hitting the window button and opening terminal. As I said, terminal or terminator are practically the same. Now I open Terminator, which is my preferred medium, and all the codes that I used to have on terminal such as ls is working here as well. For example, clear, there are no differences. If you have terminal, you can use it and run your codes inside it as well. And if you have installed Terminator like me, you can use it with no problems. They're virtually the same as I already said. On the first step, I enter the desktop folder and make a new folder, for instance, mkdir my web. Yes, this my web folder, as you notice, has been made on the desktop. Now I enter. As you see here, when I hit ls, it is empty, naturally, because we have not made any changes yet. The first thing I do is to write my web, which is my new website. You can choose any other name of your own for your new website. Alright, let's see. Now, what I do here is that I make a new virtual machine on my web folder. To make a new virtual machine, I use a certain command. The command would be Python 3 -m venv. Now a name, for instance, my venv. I use this name and enter. As you see, it takes a little time, and now if I get an ls, I will be able to see the name venv folder or my venv folder. Now the my venv that has been made here is my virtual folder. So using the Python command 3-m venv space my venv can make my virtual machine. Using this code requires the installation of the required packages. Alright? For the virtual machine, they need to be installed. If you have viewed the previous session, you know what you should have done. I hope you've done them. You should have installed the codes that are essential for virtual machine packages or the VNVs. Here, using this command, you can easily make a new virtual machine. If you have not installed those here, you will run into an error and will not be able to install it. Okay, I made my virtual machine. Now, in order to be able to use it, there are certain steps that I would need to take and certain commands that would be told to you in the follow-up. So listen carefully. Alright? I need to turn it, and then after I am done with it, turn it off. First turn it on. Okay, for turning on the virtual machine, I use the source, the name of the virtual machine, which is my venv/bin/ activate. Alright? If you pay attention, my virtual name is inside a parenthesis behind my username, as you see it here. Alright? So now, as you see, the virtual of my venv has been turned on, and I can use it and turn it off. I just need to write, deactivate, and as you see, the name my virtual is removed from behind the username, and it means my virtual is now off. Now, when the virtual is off, if I want to see my site on the search engine, I will not be able to see anything. Why? Because it is off, of course. So the first thing that we need to do is to turn our virtual on. We turn it on. Alright? Okay, as I mentioned, the necessary libraries and packages need to be installed inside it. The first and foremost package that we need installed in the Django is the Django framework. Django itself is a collection of libraries and packages that makes coding easier for us. So on the first step, I need to install Django. As I said, when you want to deploy your website on the internet, you need to do this as well. That is, you need to set up your virtual on your host and inside your virtual as well as a backup. The first thing that you do is to install Django framework. To install Django framework, we use the command pip or pip. Install Django. If you want to install a certain version of Django, you just need to write pip install Django to equal signs and the version. Okay? But when you merely enter pip install Django, the last version of Django will be automatically installed for you. And because we are dealing with the latest version here and want to work with it, so we don't need to give it the version name. And we directly just enter pip install Django and wait for it to be installed. Okay, and the framework will be installed on our virtual consequently. Okay? You've been through this process before. By now, I'm sure you know how to install or use commands to install the necessary packages. Django is no different. I need to add this as well. Okay? Along with Django framework that is being installed, there are other packages for our database that are by default light, and other packages and libraries will be installed along with Django. If you pay attention, it has been written for us here, installing collected packages, and these three packages have been installed for us, and it has shown the versions for us as well. Django 2.25 has been installed for us, alright? Now, as you see in our virtual, the first and foremost, which is Django, our main framework has been installed. So we have made the virtual now, turn it on, install Django inside it. Now it's time to make our first website. Finally, using Django to make a new website, we use the command Django-admin space start project space the name of our project. For instance, I named the project mine project, and I hit enter button. Alright, if I hit ls, as you notice, next to my Venv folder, which is my virtual folder, the my project folder has been made. So now I have made the first Django project called my project. Is that right? If now I enter cd my project and get an ls, I see a series of files. One of them is manage.file, which is our most important and useful file that we're going to use in our website creation. My project folder, as you see, there is still no database beside our database. It is still a database that we made that by default of Django SQLite has not been made, yet we need to make it by ourselves. Alright, so to make the new project, here, we made our virtual, turn it on, we install a Django framework inside the virtual, and using the command Django-admin, started our project, the name of our project, made a new project consequently, and entered the project file. Alright, now we just want to have an initial test from our website and access the default project on Django. To get a test, as I said, we still have no database. We need to make the SQLite, which is the default database on Django. So we use the command python manage.py. Here we are using the command manage.py, which, as we mentioned earlier, is an essential file on our Django website. And when we are using the commands that contain manage.file, that is, they work with python space manage.py, we need to be inside our project folder and be where the manage.file has been saved. Otherwise, this command line will not work properly and it gives us an error. As you notice, now I have entered my project folder where the manage.file is, and now I am using the command python manage.py, make migrations. I enter this, that tells me there are no changes, and then I enter python manage.py migrate. Alright, as you notice, my database is being made, and if I enter the ls again to get a list of my files and folders beside manage.py and my project folder, db.sqlite tree has been added, and now my database has been made. The two commands that we had here, that is python manage.py, make migration and migrate, are very important in our project. Anywhere we add a field to our database or made any changes on our database, in order to save those changes, what we need to do, as I said, so that we save these changes which have been made and apply them on our system and our website, we need to enter these two commands. For instance, if we change the name of a field, we need to enter that here so that the new name will be applied. Otherwise, the changes will not be applied. Later on, we will use these two commands a lot. Alright, now I have made my new website. I have made this database as well. Now, what I need to do is that I need to run my site. To do so and be able to see it on my Explorer, I use the command python manage.py run server. Alright, and as you see, my Django 225 is running with no errors, and it is available on the IP 127.001.830. I open my Explorer. Now, as you see, at the intended IP, it has become available for me. Alright, as you see now, we are on this page. This is the initial and default on Django that congratulates us on installing and running Django. It explains here the reason why we are seeing this page, as a matter of fact, is because the debug part is true. When it is true, it means that we are on the programming mode, and the errors, the bugs, and any other faulty part on the site would be visible on the Explorer for us. But when, as a matter of fact, when we are deploying our website on the site, it needs to be turned off so that if it runs into an error, it won't show it. For instance, if it runs into the error 404 or any other box, it will show us that error to us, and other errors such as 500, 501, and etc. that we will work on extensively later on. So right now that we have made this page, we open it, and our periphery website has been made correctly, and we are seeing the first and default page. Now, if I go back to my 10-meter, I can hit Ctrl-C to do so. When I do, as you see here, all right, again, you can see the name of the username and folder name and where we used to be. And now, in fact, I run the server. My run server has been deactivated. That is, my server is now off. If now I refresh this IP, I will run into an error. There would be no accessible sites. But if again I run the server, as I do here, there would be no accessible site. Let's see what happens if I turn it on. Yeah, I can see my website on my Explorer again. So you make your sites. You may even make 10 pages of website on different folders. Right now mine is my web, and you can make your virtual there, and any of the websites that you want it to be tested, you just need to enter this folder, turn this virtual on, and using python manage.py.server activate your virtual so that you can see it on your Explorer.